Well, hello everybody. This wasn't a video I was expecting to make, but needless to say, I put up a video last night, as some of you may be aware, relating to the owner of, the reluctant owner of Little Lloyd and the green screen conspiracy theory. And sometime this morning on that video, so if you've already watched it, you would have noticed that there was a comment put on it by, well, Tibor, gracious Tibor. He's got his own t-shirts and mug range and headbands and whatever. Gracious, oh no, Tibor is gracious. Tibor is gracious. Yes, this guy called Tibor. And apparently this is a guy, when everybody else left after the Prosygate revelations came out, he stuck by him. I don't really know why. But anyway, he then went to put on that video, he put a comment on it last night. This morning, saying, "Hi, it's Tibor here, you know, Tibor is gracious is here." And he goes in to explain that it isn't a green screen, and they've just changed the camera angle, this and that and the other. Fair dues to him, fair dues for saying that, because again I only called it the green screen conspiracy theory because like most conspiracy theories, it's probably a lot of bollocks. I never said it actually was true or not, I just put it down as conspiracy theory, but that wasn't the point. What I don't understand here, there's a famous saying which a lot of you may be aware of, and this is how I'm going to refer to these two in future. It says, I want to speak to the organ grinder, not the monkey. And the reason why that's important is because why is Tibor, or otherwise the monkey, coming on making the comments on the channel and not the organ grinder? Because the point of the video made last night was that the organ grinder was the person who falsely said that there was a 118 page thread about the green screen conspiracy theory, and I said that's complete bollocks. I'll explain why. In fact, I think the green screen conspiracy theory only came into page 118, and that is because the organ grinder had closed down any avenues for anybody who had a genuine question that they wanted to ask him in relation to what the organ grinder was getting up to in Thailand, amongst places. You know, in fact, if you try actually just call him the organ grinder, because his organ was grinding in Thailand, of course, yes, and using other people's money. Now the thing is, he shut down, the organ grinder has shut down any avenue of actually asking him, you know, questions that are really relevant, because of course he bans you on Twitter and allows your comments to be hidden on his YouTube channels. So as a result, the organ grinder, you can't get to speak to directly. Instead, he's sending out the monkey to put on comments. Now, obviously, I think the organ grinder saw the video last night, and I think the organ grinder must have also seen the thread as well. This has always been speculated many times as well, and clearly the organ grinder does get to see the comments on Twitter before he then blocks the person. But bizarrely, the organ grinder is just sending out the monkey to go on to other people's channels to make comments, which is really odd, because I don't want to speak to the monkey, I want to speak to the organ grinder more than anybody, and so do many other people as well. There are so many questions that still remain unresolved. Now the thing is, one of the biggest questions that remains unresolved is why and how is the monkey still working for the organ grinder when everybody else left? Because surely the amount of nuts that the organ grinder is giving the monkey to eat must be reducing, because his income is reducing as well. As we know, the organ grinder's Patreon account is going down all the time. I really feel that the monkey could not have been a former Jehovah's Witness, because every former Jehovah's Witness left very quickly. Well, some took a bit more time, but let's not name names. And I just think that the organ grinder pays the monkey, obviously, the fee in nuts. And I don't think he's a former Jehovah's Witness. Personally, I think that's obviously the way that must go. But it's all about, in my case, it's the fact that he still has yet to apologise to all the people that he used their funds for, to go out grinding his organ in Thailand. Now, this actually comes up because not only did that comment by the monkey appear on my channel, also appeared in this thread that I also follow. And the monkey says, if nobody cares about the green screen, then why are there so many messages here and on Twitter as well as YouTube videos about it? Well, obviously, that's my video. Yes, as soon as someone debunks your crazy theory, suddenly nobody cares about it. Pathetic. As for funds, I'd love to see proof of funds raised ostensibly to advocate for victims of abuse being used by Lloyd to pay sex workers. So far, I've seen literally zero, and I've read quite a lot about this and on Twitter. So he's saying, I haven't seen proof, and yet somebody comes back on the thread, says, less than 1% of this thread discusses the topic you want to concentrate on as a diversion. His Patreon page says, this is why I will always be, I've quoted this before, this is why I will always be immensely appreciative to those of you who've chosen to support my work on Patreon, even if you can only pledge $1 or $2 per month. This all, and it is put in bold print here, this all goes towards keeping me involved in the important work of churning out content. I have just referred to, I wonder what churning is referring to. What sort of content is churning out as he's grinding his organ? Yes, and they go to say, interesting use of the word churn too. In addition to the misappropriation of funds, it's the use of those funds for actively inimical to the purpose of advocating for victims. That's why no one will work with you anymore, with the exception of one person, the monkey, who's being paid to stick around. So that's it. It's really, really odd, because at the end of the day this is what I've said so many times. How is it that if the organ grinder is seeing other people's videos, including mine, and I don't think it's just the monkey, and if he's reading some of these threads, how come the penny has still not dropped in his sort of sex disease ridden brain that people are genuinely unhappy for the fact that they sent him money for him to continue his activism activity, and he's used those funds to grind his organ in Thailand, and he's never apologised. And yet even one person who I've figured out paid at least £1,000 to him put on a video saying he still hasn't apologised. You know, the organ grinder still will not apologise, because he still says it's none of anybody's business, and it's not of anybody's business what he did with the money given to him. It's free range to do what he like, which was completely contradicted by what it says on his Patreon page. And it's not just that, it's all the people who's yet to apologise, who took him into, you know, they shared with him confidential matters in relation to their experiences with CSA, and now they feel that they've been trampled on all over again by a guy who got up to no good in Thailand. The only person who's ever apologised to, as we know, is his wife, who says he will not stop apologising to. But please, you know, what is going on here? The end of the day is, I can't understand why the penny hasn't dropped. And I can't understand why the penny hasn't dropped with the monkey either. I don't know why the monkey, you know, why are we talking to the monkey? Why isn't the organ grinder actually coming on to the thread himself saying, hi, it's the organ grinder here, and actually facing questions? That's what we all want. I'd love to ask him a question. I'd love to ask him, all about the extortion emails that 12 of us received. I'd love to ask about that more than anything, because a lot of people responded to the lawyer, and as far as I'm aware, nobody's had a response yet, even though we're supposed to respond in certain days, give an apology. Still nothing. What was that about? Did he were they his real lawyers? And it did come from him, because he actually mentioned it. I've said this before and I've said this again. The only way of ending all of this, and I really, really wish, to be honest with you, it would end, is that if he just came off all social media and actually got a job, maybe he could actually go back to growing big, juicy, red tomatoes. I wish he would. I wish he'd disappear from social media and that we'd never hear from him again. This whole thing about, he says, his legacy, and he's put a lot of work into it. Yes, he has put a lot of work into it, but his legacy is fucked. It is absolutely fucked. At the end of the day, we know that if anybody mentions the name, the organ grinder, from now on, we'll always think of one thing and one thing only. Well, probably several things come to mind, but the fallout from is grinding his organ in Thailand and other places. That is his legacy. What he should be concentrating on, which is more important than your social media legacy or activism legacy, is why don't you be more proud of having a legacy of being a good father and being a good husband? Because apparently they're the things that are most important to him, but clearly not. The fact that he still is doing this, and he's casting himself as the victim, as being persecuted, as being bullied. Now, this is ironic, because this is the same guy who calls out Jehovah's Witnesses for playing the same card. He's playing it all the time. He's always portraying himself as being bullied and as the victim of being persecuted. It's really, really, really poor show. The other thing that he could do is, which is a suggestion, if either the organ grinder or the monkey are watching this video, is why don't you go on and do a live stream on your YouTube channel and just put it out there, organ grinder, prepared to answer any serious questions, because of course there are a lot of silly questions out there, but serious questions where people could actually put it to him. Were you with your children in Christmas 2021? Despite the fact that you're calling out Tony Morris, I think there's some, I don't know what there is connection between Lloyd and Tony Morris. It may be sexual, I don't know, but there's something there, because he's always taking on, he's always taking on the Tony. There's something there. I think he's just imagining Tony in his tight pants. He did, of course, in that phone call, remember, he did refer to Tony, hope your pants aren't tight. There's something there. There's something, oh dear, there's something going on there, and that's why he's always taking on Tony's tight pants. There's something going on, there's some sort of sexual undercurrent happening there. And recently he mentioned about Tony, about his parental escapade or whatever, and of course, for a guy who we believe did actually leave his kids and his family last Christmas, certainly wasn't there New Year. How can you go on and talk about anyone being a bad parent when you are the organ grinder? So I'd love it if you actually just did a stream, and then people could actually say, look, can you just clarify, were you with your kids at Christmas? Can you clarify how is it you still don't think you owe people an apology who've funds that you used to go out and to grind your organ in Thailand, and also to the people you let down who they thought he was supporting them as survivors of CSA within Jehovah's Witnesses, all the people who got sent the litigation letters, and it goes on. There's a lot of things to be cleared up here, and he should actually man up, grow a big hairy pair, and just be prepared to go on a live stream and let people ask genuine questions, and let's see his answers. And therefore he might clear a lot of these things up, but somehow I don't think that's going to happen, because he hasn't got a big pair, he isn't manning up, and he's just literally sending out the monkey to speak for him. And we don't want to speak to the monkey, we want to speak to the organ grinder directly. Anyway, that is tonight's video, I won't be doing one tomorrow now because unfortunately I've been asked to go and work. So I was up at 5:30 this morning and I loaded a van for an hour and drove for 10 hours, and tomorrow I'm probably doing the same again. So I'm a little bit tired because in another 2 hours I'm going to bed again. Oh my God, I wish I could grow big juicy red tomatoes and be living in Croatia and that sort of stuff, but I don't. So anyway, so it's a goodbye from me, it's a goodbye to you, and it's a goodbye to you as well. It's a goodbye to all of us anyway. So enjoy your night, and yeah, I think from now on I'm just going to call you know who the organ grinder. See you later. Bye bye.